Oh, that was gorgeous. My name is Jessica Holyfield, and I'm a professional dance choreographer and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States, and we're going to be taking a look at LOONA's Butterfly. I have heard from so many of you guys that I needed to take a look at this because it is known as one of the cleanest routines I will probably see in a long time, and I'm excited for it. And so this is one of the 5 that was selected for the 5,000 subscriber celebration for YouTube. So I can't wait to take a look at this. We have 3 different versions we're going to look at: dance, practice, performance version, and music video. I also know we're boycotting their older companies, so I found re-uploaded versions, so we're not supporting them. So without further ado, let's get into it. Ooh. Oh, that was gorgeous. That's how you do a peel right there. Nice. Very satisfying. Nice. Ooh. Nice. Ooh, very interesting choice there. Nice. It's really nice to watch. Nice. Nice. Ah, gorgeous. Yes. Now this was in fact mirrored because I couldn't find the dance practice re-upload without it being mirrored. So we went with this. I really enjoyed that. Part of me was like, I mean, it was very clean, but there wasn't anything super like that stood out to me as a interestingly challenging focal point that enhances the complexity of the synchronicity until I saw that very beautiful peel out. Oh, I melted. That was awesome. Okay, we have a performance version. Hashtag shout out to OneSpit who has the re-upload to this. I'm ready. Ooh. Pastels are gorgeous. One of the members has purple hair and it works very well with the vibe. Nice. Little cummerbunds, cute. You know, it's funny. The only thing that's going to be different are the camera shots. It's probably going to be very clean in how they execute it every time. Yeah. Oh, completely different. Completely different venue. So we got 3 shots, I think. Oh, that was gorgeous. Wings, wings. Nice. And the bridge recover too. I'm excited to talk about this one. Gorgeous. Love the accent with the head to match that ch in the back. I also know that LOONA is a group that has lore in their work, and I don't know any of it. So there's probably some imagery in here that I'm not understanding as much as I could. So I apologize for that, because I can't contribute that into like an analytical side in the choreo, but that's gorgeous how they lead with the wrists on that. Oh, so nice. The falsetto really helps with the lightness of what they're using imagery-wise. Because if they were hitting it really, really low, like in tone, it'd be like butterfly, and it's not quite as dainty, you know what I mean? It's angsty but dainty. Nice little kick out there, super fun. Honestly, they're doing a fantastic job despite the different outfits, because a different outfit is going to have its own challenges. These types of fits are going to feel different than in the white. Got some whistle tones happening too, it sounds like. Beautiful aerial visual for that. Oh, it's gorgeous. I wish we held on to it a little longer so I could appreciate the true traffic pattern of that. Oh, that would have been so pretty. It's still gorgeous. The spacing's a little off on that cut that they showed in the black. That's on the camera, people, though. They should have known. And when you're in a different environment too, and not in a dance practice space, of course you're going to have those discrepancies of your formations being slightly different and slightly off, because if you look at the venue, that ain't no dance practice space. So part of your space is going to be covered with prop usage. It's more spherical, so how you set it up is going to be different. So it makes sense to kind of mark through or walk through your formation. So I found it interesting that in this particular take that you noticed near the end, this right here. So I want you to notice right here, to think that. Do you notice the spacing's off? I mean, that's a bit unfortunate. Hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 12. So are we missing someone in this version? That's how, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We are missing whoever is here. Right? Either here or here. That's how clean this is, of the fact that in the other shot, you can very clearly see there is a difference. Now I'm intrigued. Hold on. Go back. Back it up. Back it up. I gotta find it. I just had it. Where was it? We're here. Cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's only 11. Why is that? Can anybody tell me? I'm very intrigued by that specifically. It's my girl right there. That is how clean that formation is. It literally just looks like they were off. And in this space, it would make more sense to be together. But I guess why did the camera people include this shot when the beauty of it comes from the symmetry, but it's obviously not symmetrical, and it makes it look like it's either the formation's entirely off or they were missing someone. I find it interesting. It's not on them at all. I have a lot of questions about that. Very curious about that. But we're here in the music video. Let's watch it. What is the cinematic vibes of this performance? I already like with the icy looking forest. I know it's really not like that, but there's such an opposition of colors. The color grading on it's really pretty. Nice. Shout out to re-uploaded Loona for the fact we get to watch this and not support the company. Wow. Oh, that lady is very pretty. I love the earring that she has too. Ooh, butterfly tat. Love it. Ooh. Run, girl, run! Love that. Nice. Wow. I love all the different types of women they have. So fun. That was a good change with the going from white to black. That was good. I guess set yourself free, right? Have wings and fly. Don't be restricted by your cultural or social norms. Is what it's giving in energy. I'm probably gonna look at the lyrics just to get a better feel for what's going on lyrically. Nice. love the time of day that they're shooting some of these shots. Like, golly, I love that. That is so cool. That forest with the vibrancy of the green. Oh. And then they had somebody that, I think it's, what is it? Albinoism, right? With the white on the white. God, I love this. In the desert, just different environments. It's so cool. Such an aesthetic. Oh. Wow. I appreciate that we got to see some imagery of fluidity with being a butterfly in their choreography, but I really like the intention. Just what I'm gleaning from the music video here is so nice. So gorgeous. I really liked that. Now I'm gonna go look at the lyrics, speedy fast, and then we're gonna start our analysis. Okay, I looked, and honestly, shout out to whoever did the direction for the music video, because what I gleaned from that music video was exactly what the intention of the message, the lyricism was conveying. I also did a quick little search on what it just was about, and somebody pretty much said what I said about what I was watching, which was super dope. And I do stand by what I said. I really appreciate that you can have a lot of this graceful feather-like breathability and breath behind some of their movements, because it does feel very dainty like a butterfly. So that kind of texture has a really pleasant crossover choreographically that helps push it on a physical level. So even if you didn't watch the music video and glean that for yourself, and if you don't know Korean, you can have some sense of overlap, which I really like. Okay, I got my glasses on. We are ready to go. From the top here, LOONA Butterfly. This is a 4-minute routine. Oh my God, like that is a long time. Sheesh. So, and this starts immediate too. There ain't no lagging for this. So they like that they're all interlocked. It does look like maybe the fingers here with all the ladies, and then they're all having their feet glued together. Everyone's balls of the feet are present on the floor. Their knees, of course, glued together too. One of our features is up. Nice presence, really beautiful stylized hand to begin. From here, I also love how she presents it, and there's a lot of breath, that there's not really quite opposition, but it feels complementary because they're going at the same rate of lowering or raising or shifting energy depending on where you have it. So in those that are on the lower level, they have it more so engaging and pulling it up, and then you have your first feature with her arms going down. So there is some sense of opposition, but with different body parts represented. I like that too. And they go, and she takes it as she goes down. She brings it up, so it has a subtlety of what's the word? Jess, use your brain. You got this. Controlling. Why could I not think of that? Oh man. Notice my feature. She brings her arms back in. It feels like she's controlling. The ladies all come back up in a reversal. Looks great. Super fun. Great first 3 seconds. Let's go. I like the accent there on the boom piano note. Ding. Love it. They go. The accent. I love they look. Ding. And then they move it at the same time. So the beauty of what I'm noticing here is with LOONA in general, they do a really good job on mirrored transitions. So those who are mirrors of each other, so it would be these groupings right here, and then these ladies are in the same kind of grouping, and then you have your feature, and then you have this little grouping back there. I love the fact that there is so much attention to detail all the way through the outskirts of a formation, and when they're moving, sliding, transitioning. The transitions a lot of times groups end up neglecting. They use power and presence and essence to help justify choices in transitions, but when part of the beauty is the cleanliness and the synchronicity of going from point A to point B, you want to be mindful of who you're traveling with. And so if you notice here, these two are traveling with each other, even though they're on the complete opposite sides of the room. Fantastic job branching the formation out. It feels balanced, because that's the big thing in most formations, and you don't have to know dance to really know that about yourself. Most people prefer to look at a routine or look at something in an art medium, and there's a sense of balance in it. And we all typically like to lean towards symmetry too. So that's why formations, we look and we can tell something's off even if you can't pinpoint it. That's just a human thing. So I like the fact that that's not really a problem here, which is kind of dope. The walkthroughs of womb, womb, even the intention of the steps are really nice to see. They drop it down, new features entered, they take it, notice that everybody's placing their weight onto their hand that they drop down below. So if they are on this side, it's going to be, honestly, it's everybody's outside hand. However, a lot of you have told me they're known for synchronicity, so I am holding them to the standard of when you look for cleanliness, these are the things you look for, all the way down to the fingertips. I've talked about this with all groups that are known for synchronicity 17 extensively about this, the boys as well. So with this group in particular, notice it's very subtle, so subtle. It's just something like an observation. Some of them chose to go more of a flat hand, some created more of an accent here, but so far out of everyone, I only noticed one person that's going total flat. But even then, it's quite shadowed, so I can't really verify it. But even the intention of how that thumb is propped up, it does influence the look of the hand and how much leverage you're able to put on it in weight. So that's just a little side note, because those little details can affect range in a choreography through point A to point B, not just the A move and not just the B move in timing. And that's what a lot of people don't think through 100%, and I didn't think about it until I did judge training on it. So I totally understand that. I like that right there. Boom, notice some of them are thinking or aligning the head in line with the chest, and some are really committing and letting that back of the head guide them down. Those are little details, but they do make a difference in how they go to the floor. So you can notice that most people, it's pretty much all but maybe one or two people. You have one person featured, you have one person that's looking more up, everybody else is looking in the back corner. So that would be my note to my dancer right here, is to think about accenting from the back of the head a little bit more as she drops down, instead of keeping it locked up by the collarbones and right here by the side of the neck. I get that locked up all the time, so I totally get that. The melting down, gorgeous. I like that even when they're placing the hands down. That was clean. Love that. Also, a really big thing I'm noticing is their wrists and how they're letting the wrist lead a lot of their stylized hand movements. And I just love that. It's so fun. It adds an extra sense of breathiness to it. Similar, not quite to like an allongé in ballet. That's more just adding breath to the entire dynamic of a particular movement, or a port de bras or something along those lines for bar work, but you can do it anywhere in ballet. I digress. But my point being, it just adds really nice fluidity and daintiness that justifies the texture throughout the entirety of the routine. Beautiful in fingerprint, and I like the intention of everybody because it helps me appreciate it. I like the accent from our feature there. They take us to the other side, boom, and notice it was much harsher of a down that was taking place. It was dainty and then really sharp, but not like so extensively sharp, but just enough to add some weight behind it, and it matches that crash in the music, and I love that. They take the hands, boom, there's your butterfly right there. Very clear. You do notice some of them have their hands more blade, some have them extended out. So for me, my note for Luna in a dance practice context, I have it paused about every 2-3 moves. So the fact is it's very, very clean. Super, super clean. The fact that really the only discrepancies I have seen so far have been very minimal head placements with 1 to 2 people, but for the most part, everyone's on the same page with the alignment of the hands. But you do notice and see here that not everybody's hands are facing the same direction. It does influence what kind of look and imagery it comes across. I think this is the ideal butterfly. Of course, my mark, let it go. Of course, you have a feature, and then you have somebody else that is infiltrated with the feature. How many people are in this dance practice? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. So they have all 12 here. Cool. Nice. So I like that. I like the accent there. Beautiful on the reset. They drop it down. Elbows touch first. Hands on the sides. And then they fold down on another part of the music. Very intentional. New features enter the chat. She comes up. I love how she comes up and then it bleeds from the back to the front. And how are they pulling? Are they pulling from... I think they're pulling... Oh, they're pulling, half of them are pulling from the chest and then they reset, and some are coming up with the head first. So those would be little subtleties, but as long as your mirror commits to the same way you do, I don't think it's that big of a concern, because my very back groups come up with the forehead and the others come up with the chest, and then the head takes control. So that's so subtle, but I don't mind either choice. It's just, it's as long as it's balanced, I don't think it matters. They come up nice, and they come up nice and smooth, very stable. I appreciate the stability. I am not concerned for their balances in any way, shape, or form when they go down, when they come up. Sometimes people lose their balance and their weight is unclear. Very clear and intentional in their choices, and it makes it very very fun to watch, truly. I like that. They all snap up, boom. And I like this little shampoo, double shampoo, really fun. And they go ding, 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 ding. And I do know their choreography in this group was kind of ahead of its time, where they were a bit of a trendsetter for showcasing more complexity in their choreography. And I think was G-Friend another group like that? Am I mixing them up? Anyway, I do know that with both of those groups, there's importance and impact that comes with the choices that are made choreographically. And I appreciate it a lot, especially when it comes to synchronicity. Just because it looks clean and it looks simple does not mean it's easy. It is really difficult to get these types of things together in a group. It just is. And so regardless if that's something you're known for, like for me, I'm known for having the skill set of analyzing choreography. I love doing it. It's fun for me. It's not really work for me. And I do it in my day-to-day life. It's not just I do it on YouTube. I do it for studios. So, but what I find awesome though is I do understand that not everybody has a skill set that I have, so I'm not going to downplay somebody's inability to do it as, oh, it's so easy. It's not easy for everyone, and that's okay. In this case here, with girl groups, this is just me, you know, I'm saying my piece. With girl group choreography, it can be a simple step touch and it can still be hard for someone. It just depends on where they're starting in their dance journey and what is an implicit posture in which they're starting from too. In this case, you're dealing with a lot of breath and tension and shifts in your stability, but also having to make sure your unison is unison to a freaking T. Because if your group is known for synchronicity, you're going to be held to that standard. So I digress. I wanted you to know, if you're a fan of LOONA, I will stand by you if people are like, oh, this is too easy. This isn't easy. It's simpler, but it's not simple in the sense of everybody is just doing a step touch. Some of the choices look simple because they fall and they're easy to digest to the eye and to the heart and to the ear. That does not mean that it is the easiest thing. It is not. Very far from that. And we'll get into that. The more we progress, the more we get to touch on that in a great way. So, but I like the tap there. From there, did you guys see the trace wave with the fingers? Some people can't get a freaking wave right. And that right there was just a part of a finishing out a phrase of movement out of a syncopation of the ISO. Come on, you know? Golly, I love that choice. Boom, tsh. And they have a lot of this crossover imagery, you know, just like with the butterfly. So I do like the fact that we have symmetry happening with things that create shapes, you know, that can depict wings. So there's so much of that fingerprinted throughout the choreo that if this doesn't resonate with you, maybe this does, or maybe this does, you know. So they have that and they're kind of projecting that. So even before they hear the butterfly, you're already saturated in the imagery to where it's easier to relate to it later on. I love it. It's the same thing whenever I was watching 10's birthday. There's a sound of a ticking clock, and notice that some of the transitions that they made in their formation were circular in nature, and some of the textures were ticking, and ticking got the name. Or one of the cases of getting the name is it's in reference to it gives the appearance of looking like ticking on a clock. So a lot of that kind of imagery naturally prepares us. So whenever we see it in the music video, you feel more prepared for it. And in this case, that's how I see a lot of the overlap in the butterfly, regardless of the intention. I appreciate the just the impact that a lot of these choices are being made for the choreo. Love it. Sliding it in, boom. I like that with the reset. Really fun feature right there in the center. The simplicity of the finger walkthrough, and I love her captivation in that moment too. Everybody being still so we can see the simplicity, right? Or see the subtlety, not simple. The subtlety of the fingers is really well done for that. Accent, and then they take the shoulders, really nice. Very still when it needs to be still. Love it. Super fun. This was gorgeous. I like how she traces her hands down to connect with other hands. It reminds us of the very beginning when they're all wrapped together with the circle. Love that. And she was also a feature for that moment. So everybody walks away. Notice even our mirrors stop at the same time, even if you're already in your spot. Do you see that? This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is the kind of stuff that a lot of groups neglect, but they did not. And what's nice is I've been very fortunate that most groups that I've marathoned are intentional in these areas. They just have other areas that need refinement. But this is the group that this is a skill set, like this is a specialty, is the beauty of mirrored transitions. Because look, they stopped at the exact same time. We're gonna go back and appreciate that and then we'll move on. Oh man, this is so fun. Look, ready? Boom. On the downbeat too. Ooh, love it. And that was a fun, seamless transition. Then you have beautiful symmetry happening right here. Of course, one of them makes contact with the floor a smidgen earlier than the other, but they set it, beautiful on the wave. Their connections and their follow through on the waves are so pretty. And I feel that people don't give groups enough credit when you actually see a correct wave, because a lot of people neglect the fingers, but the fingers are the whole focal point. So we're naturally going to be very sensitive to seeing what happens with these bad boys the whole time. And so the fact that they're able to create beautiful follow through in their waving as a waver makes me really happy. And I love it. And waving is a great style to showcase wings, you know, the breath behind it. And so right there, you have it built up. I like this little framing action, boom, boom, on the crash, beautiful to expand that out. I appreciate the professionalism on the side where they're not taking away from what's going on, but they are staying in frame, knowing that their presence is still known. Wonderful. I love that doon, doon, doon. I love the transition happening. Really easy to see who my feature is. I love this little go to sleep motion here as she walks, taking it through. That pull is really nice. They all drop down, and even as they extend that leg out, dream, bring it through. Everybody's very clear on the forearms. Being real, if you don't have a really flexible back to be able to hug yourself or to be able to hold this forearm, this is hard for people to do. But the quickness of that, it's like it's nothing. It's like they're doing literally the simplest thing in the world. But simple does not mean easy. I love it. And then you have this beautiful little framing around, really fun. And it comes up, dun, dun, and then everybody walks on freaking tempo. Oh my God, that was beautiful. Look at the tempo. So satisfying. It's so freaking satisfying. I love it. And this part is what really set me. Ready? The follow through. Fly like a butterfly. This is what sells it. Not this, it's this. And that is what I love. Having your feature expanded out. She resets it. So my first my first dancer, as she hits it out, she has to reset it in order to keep the flow going. And then a very simple lift right here. But once again, stability. It doesn't look like she is struggling at all to have a beautiful accent. Look, stylized fingers, they all come up. They drop it down, very nice. They thread that leg through. Where their head is looking really nice and diagonal, they rotate it. Now, the bridge recover. Oh my God. They have some of it still needs improvement. And I've talked about this with most groups. Stray Kids was my most recent victim to this critique. When you look at their foot alignment, this is a note to them. You can tell there's space happening on the outside of their feet, but they are definitely an improvement from other groups that I've seen. Some groups are so aggressive with the turnout. You want to be mindful and try to fight to have your feet parallel. The reason why is because the knees, where are your knees going? They're going straight. So if you think that my feet are turned out, but my knees are going straight, you're going to put extra tension on parts of your knees that the tension is not supposed to be at. And that is a long-term pain that's going to start causing in your body over time. So for me, I always think when I see those types of things, think about 30-year-old you, not just 20-something-year-old you. You want to protect your knees as much as you can and not have to get a replacement by the time you're 40, you know? And so that would be my note to Loona. But theirs, if you notice, theirs is more subtly turned out. It's not like a full aggressive one like I've seen from other groups. I think the most aggressive one out of them all is my girl right here. But it's because I can also see she's rocking the weight more towards the big toe. And so it's really creating extra tension in that pull. So that's just my little note, but it is very well done. The range of everybody getting up at the same time, so good. And then everyone's here. Notice that we're not having our arms glued together. Everybody has it to the same degree out. Very well done. And then our feature coming in super seamlessly. Like that, do I love the slide out here. Now they have to make sure they place their weight on the standing leg and try to get that knee nice and strong and stable, because honestly, everybody's doing a fantastic job of being on top of their leg, being on top of their standing leg, and whenever they're bending the knee is not protruding out or in. Oh my God, this is so fun. Guys, this is so fun to look at. But I think hers, she just divots just a little bit in that wrist and that arm, but it's so subtle. Who cares, you know? I like the feature of that where there's a little butterfly moment. But as they're sliding out, they're putting all their weight here, most likely in the correct position. And so as they slide this leg out, you're not going to have any resistance because of weight placement. So I love that. Really fun. And they push the energy down. We're building up the tension because there's that so it makes sense that we're going to have a really nice visual, which is this beauty right here. So she's here. Okay, so it goes 1E and a 2E and a 3E and. So it goes 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4. Beautiful. Let's see that one more time. Ready? Oh, hold on. Most replayed. Makes sense. 1E and a 2E and a 3 and a 4. Yep. So satisfying. It's what makes that look so good is everybody's engaging from the right part of their body. They're not just throwing their arms. Everybody has the same direction and intention behind it. So I'm going to 0.75 it, just this one part, because I know this is one of the most iconic sections of the whole thing. So they take it, notice that the first arm goes, then the second arm starts. So I would say if you want to see an actual discrepancy, my girl right here, her second arm is a little too far in range this direction compared to the first girl. And this girl's is a little bit, well, her first arm is on par. I'm assuming that the first arm, or no, the second arm of the person in front needs to be below the first arm of the next person in line. It's kind of what it's looking. So right there and where I stopped it, that's where we've kind of propped it, but also notice where their hands are starting and where they're finishing. So they're intentional with how they're holding themselves. It's very stable. So they're not taking away or becoming a distraction from the beautiful visual that we're seeing. You have a feature over on, I mean, in this case, she's probably stage left, but over here it's stage right because it's mirrored. And I love that everybody has their, I mean, it's their right knee, but in here it looks left. And she technically, my girl at the very end, couldn't technically drop her knee because she had to pop right back up. So that was very nice and strategic, but she still had it parallel. So it didn't take away from the beautiful visual from start to finish. Let's freaking go. And now we have windows. So it's two diagonals. Kind of looks like they clone themselves, going from a beautiful straight line and then really expanding it out. And the suspense on the slide, it really helps with that little pistol squat lunge that they did earlier. I'm sorry, not pistol squat, but like that little glided lunge earlier that we saw, and then going from that line, and then we peel out over to the next spot. Here we go, back to normal speed. Love it. Love the subtlety. Boom, the bass. Boom, using more fullness of the body to help with that bass because we've used a lot more wrist and hands and head and chest. So it's nice to use a little bit more of the legs in this way to help create fullness of the energy, building it up. Once again, very clear on who's down, who's up. I love that. Think it through, boom, wave, love that, all the way through the fingers. This part, you do see a bit more discrepancies in the arm angles, but because they've showcased so much in that first minute, you're typically going to look at this with more grace, and that's the importance of having a really good first impression when you look at choreography. And I hate saying that, but most people are going to be influenced off of the first impression they see of a group, first impression of the first 10 seconds of a track, or of the choreography. So it needs to have really great punctuation in the beginning, or a nice starter of your sentence, and then it has a really nice punctuation and a really good conclusion at the end. So really good bookends, but also your middle needs to have some interesting moments, but not everything has to be high energy, low energy, mid. You're just going to create a plateau, but here you have a lot of levels that help with some of the simplistic looking choreo, but once again, simplistic does not mean easy. Depends on the wheelhouse in which your style originates from. This would be difficult for somebody who does crump, who does breaking. This would be easier for somebody who does contemporary, for somebody who does waving, you know, so it depends on who you're talking to will determine whether or not this would be deemed something easy or difficult for them. And I feel like so many people when they make lists, because I've seen this, an excerpt of this from it was like the hardest K-pop choreographies. That's such a subjective thing to say, which is why I most likely will not say this is the hardest thing I've ever seen, this, that, and the other. I mean, maybe I can say it in that regard, but I can't say this is the hardest choreography I've ever seen in my life. I'm always going to find something that's harder. But also note from my own personal experience of when I'm exposed to, it's outside of the K-pop context too. So I really kind of feel like I think there's beauty to be had in celebrating what makes this so beautiful in the synchronicity and the cleanliness of it, but I also think we can, you know, kind of realize they're still human too, which makes it impressive that they can be this clean together. And I know they've lived together and worked together for a long time, so there's implicit posture involved here, but it's still impressive nonetheless, and we gotta give it to them, you know what I mean? So from here, the pull through, I like that, where they go down, boom, really nice having the head create a nice direction for that moment there. I like that, doom, doom, and then they take it and they're gonna brush it right across the face. It frames it very well. Oh, my mouse! Ah. Hold on. Ugh, sorry, my bad. We're here. and they bring it up, and the other 4 come up. Looks very nice. Nice transition. Even in that transition, looks great, nice and clean. There's the butterfly, and then you have different butterfly kind of influenced fingers, hands to branch out and create a nice level or nice staging to the outside, but also notice that they're creating a nice V that helps with that. And then of course they're expanding the arms out. Look at they establish, and then they continue the energy with the wrist. Very, very nice. Hitting the boom, boom, boom. I love the stoicness of their posture as they hit all of these arms. Ding, ding. Really nice. Gosh, I love it. And even everybody's bending the same part of their knee. I love it. But some people, of course, are a little bit more out. Some are really pushed in. You know, I think for the most part, it's supposed to be inverted to the inside, but just one of them is a little bit out. Just once again, 1 person out of 12. Come on. That's like so minimal. Love it. And love that choice. Some people are prepping a little bit more full than others. I really like how my dancer right here in the stripes, there's a couple girls in stripes, but I like how she really created a nice impact on that kick to hit that little bass percussion. Super fun. Really like that. They go, she resets her hair. She moves over to the side. Once again, everybody had the same amount of steps to get to their spot, and they got there. 1 and 4. Yep, ding, ding. I like that little action taking place when they drop to the outsides. Great mirroring for that. 1, 2, 3. Like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. I feel like the transitions are just as much a work of art as a lot of the visuals they're making. And it's not something that you see as often, just in general. A lot of times you have great key moments and great choreography moments, but sometimes the transitions are kind of there to fill up space through the 8 count. Here in this case, the transition has received just as much, if not more attention than the actual focal points, and it's turned it into a focal point in and of itself, and that is incredible, and it shows their diligence and their hard work, and it's something that I can 100% appreciate about this. I love that boom, boom, boom. Love that little rotation around with the hand. That right there, notice that it flips down and it triggers what happens with the shoulder, and it creates a nice breath reaction with the arm. That da-da, love that bleed and bleed. Really fun on that. Take it through butterfly. Yes. Oh, hold on. Who was my feature there? She was my feature because I did notice her near the tail end because she was the only one who didn't have her arms up. And that is what helps when you have synchronicity or unison. It's easier to find who your feature is when they're not center, because everyone's doing the same thing except for your feature who's an outlier doing something naturally different because that's their moment. That right there, everybody's got to be on the same page on how they're doing it in a unison section in order for the feature to stand out, regardless if they're in the back corner, if they're hanging out over on stage right, stage left, and right here we get to very clearly see who our feature is. She doesn't even have to mouth the words. I can see who she is. Love it. Pulling it through, June, down, down. I like that. There's a little sound. It sounds like somebody saying words, so I like that this is framing the mouth to kind of give that inspiration. Ding, ding. And then right here, we're going to let the hip accent. We have levels represented too. And so they go down and up, and then you have a nice rotation, not really rotation, but visual happening with the chest here in the middle group. I love that. Fun with our feature. Nice little choreography moment there too. Oh, beautiful levels. I love when I see so many freaking levels because it really helps the dancers not have to do so much density in their choreo, because there's other facets of staging and spacing and dynamics that can really help be easier on the brain in terms of like what physically you have to remember. It's just more, I mean, it is more challenging mentally because you have to remember all of your individualized timings, but I do think on the physical side, it's not as difficult on your body whenever you're not all doing the like pumping it out, all the energy the whole time. It's nice to be able to go down, just think more itemized with the hands and then have more fullness later. So it's creating nice heartbeats within the choreography through the usage of levels. I love it. Some people don't really understand the importance of them, and I love the fact that we get to see it so clearly here. Love that. Golly, beautiful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like, so far, there hasn't even been a smidgen or an inclination that this is an even number group. Like, I still have to verify it because it's so freaking creative in the levels and the formation choices to showcase their features. Really nice. I like that choice. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, gosh, I hate when it does double time. Okay, come back in. Yeah, dun, 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 and everybody lifts that chin just a little bit slightly. I love that. And then right here, all the way through. Now, some of them didn't finish, so that would be my note. They didn't finish the wave through with the breath, so that would be my note. But that was just really the first time I caught it, and we're almost halfway through. So that was really nice. So they take it and they fold down, and then you have your two outside of your feature. They go more of a lunge position, which I love. Have her sit down. They branch those arms out. You still have two people facing the back, and then you have two facing the side. Love the love. Oh, so fun. And then you have your hand expanding out. And the level of somebody that's down on the ground with their arm up is just as clean as those who are standing. They're technically hitting different angles because of the position that they are physically in as they do it. And so that is very impressive. Sorry, I have a cat that is moving around all over the place. Carlos, calm down. Oh, so fun. And right there, they turn it into a beautiful ripple. Ah, I love it. And they're sliding using leverage. Honestly, shout out to the sleeves on the shirts that allow them the ability to slide back. It is a lot harder if you do not have a sleeve to help, because you notice where that sleeve is right underneath the bottom of that palm. So that's how you would do that. Effectively wear long sleeves. It goes a long way. From here, I like also with our feature, she's looking downcast, and it actually complements this dynamic that's happening and the transition over. So now you have a new feature. She goes and she does a little brush around, and then they all come right back up. Love that action with a little shoulder, super cute. Then they go, do a little Z-sit, and then they move the feet over. So I like that choice where they get the torso first, and then they isolate the feet to reset to the back. Really nice. I like that. D. Love that stylized hand. Gorgeous. This could be something, I feel like there's some familiarity behind this. But I couldn't tell you what it means, but it wouldn't surprise me if that has to do with lore of theirs. Down, boom, and everybody's making their own choice. My front line is going and rotating. If this is mirrored, they'd be going left or right side, and then my other group is going the right side. Yeah, cool. I love that, and they expand it out. I really love that. Complements beautifully. I'm having a freaking blast looking at this. This is so enjoyable. I don't mind talking about what makes a routine look good. Trust me. I could do this all day, and I do it all day. Once again, you have your feature present out. I love that, the little dip happening right there. Super fun. Notice that some of them have a really clear bend of the knee, and some of them have their hips sticking out a little bit more. This is why making sure that everybody's bending at the same rate matters, because you can see there's a discrepancy in the angle or what shape they're going for. This one's not as clear. And this one is very, very intentional and clear on positioning, you know, even though their hands are in the same spot. So that would just be just an observation, not something that, here's the thing, this is like years and years ago, so it's not like they can really fix it, or they could, but I know they're not really under this agency anymore. But I'm saying in theory, that would be something, if I were in the position to give them feedback, I would look at that and make sure everybody's bending at the same rate at that point. But that is like, so once again, so minimal. The only reason why I would say that's even a note is because she's in the front. If she was in the back or in the corners, it wouldn't even, I probably wouldn't even catch it, honestly. Bring it back in. Do. I like that. Choice, boom. And then we take the arms, create a nice fullness there. Some of them really use their back on that, which is really nice. Then they go over to the side. They drop down. Really fun. Hitting it through. Doom. Really nice on the ISO with the chest on that. Picking up with the passe looks great. Nice little pa-ta-ta. I like the kicks through that. Really great transition on that part. There's a fun little circle. And then, of course, you have another feature over on the side. Love that choice. I like the subtlety here. Boom. Really nice syncopated hip accent on that. Bah. Fun. My feature did a fantastic job of maintaining captivation even when everybody joined in. That was fun. I'm dying. What makes this beautiful too is they didn't need to do stylized hands. We got to talk about the fact that we have a flat freaking hand in these blades as they hit it. A lot of times I'm going to see a ton of, I call them the duck bills, right? It looks great when you're doing awkward silence by Stray Kids. It does not look great when you're trying to justify a tut position that has nothing to do with awkward birds. So in this case, we got to give credit where credit is freaking due. Look how straight some of these hands are. Of course, you got a little bit of a curl happening, but also if you think about what they're doing, they have to create a curl to transition it to the other side of this little wrist ISO action. So I may have caught them right in the middle of that transition. If you look. Oh, it makes me want to cry. That's beautiful. That's so beautiful. And look, our mirrors are mirroring. Oh my God, I love it. Oh, I love it. Golly. Yes, intentionality behind when they come back on stage. They are contributing to the overall aesthetic. They are not becoming a distraction. Thank goodness. Great levels. They come up. I love the walk around. And then you have your feature. Boom. Butterfly. She dips down. Really like that choice. She did it earlier and it stuck out to me in a good way. I really liked her form for that. So it's nice to see her feature in that way again. They go butterfly once again. And then you have 2 in the back facing one direction, 2 facing the other direction. Then your feature right there in the middle. I like the swing, using the shoulder. Everybody doing a good job there. And they go swings, wings. And then they're using the shoulder the first time. And then they're letting the shoulder influence the secondary arm. But that arm comes up and it's more mid. So that was fun. All the other girls are on the sides. Attentive, engaged, thoroughly like invested in what's going on, you know? Some of them look like they're zoning out. Maybe they are, but I wouldn't be able to tell you because I'm too busy looking at what I need to look at, which is the group that's on stage right now. That's awesome. Great choice of everybody making subtly different choices with the hand extension. They all come right back in on the snap. Love that. To the side, boom, nice and subtle. So some didn't really like go for it. It's because everybody's bending at the same rate on the standing leg, so everybody looks the same in how they hold that pose. Right here, we've now gone, I think this is a cannon, right? So this is a really nice choice where everybody drops down and then she comes up. Well, I don't think it's a cannon. My apologies. I think it's a call and response. Oh, it's not. So it's a ripple and then everybody joins in at a certain point. So it goes do-do-do-do-do. They all hold it until a certain sound or count. Cool. They come back in. That part, I think they could have really swiveled it and made it a little bit cleaner in that rotation there. But it, once again, very minimal. Butterfly. It's not taking away the integrity of the beauty of this, truly. Walking forward, boom. That, notice the staccato, that, you know, that crash sound and having the sharpness of the formation change. Oh, dying. This is why levels exist, everyone, so you can make beautiful things like this. Dun, dun, dun. Cool. Yes, choreography, boom, folding it up. Love that. Notice that. I mean, everybody, I don't think anybody has their arm like straight. It's slightly bent, and those are really hard angles to get clean. So that's pretty good for the most part. Boom, waving it out. When you deal with different fabrics, you're going to run into this. I see this a lot whenever I would study mega crews when I was studying for my exam. Whenever you look at costuming, if everybody has different tassels, different fabrics, different materials, different looseness of material, it's going to read differently on a synchronized formation or synchronized section. And here's why. If some people have more fabric to navigate through than others, what's going to happen is this fabric is going to create more range in the entire torso movement and motion that you are doing. And what comes with that is it's going to feel like your movement didn't stop at the time that others did if they're wearing a different type of fabric. That's just something that it's a textile thing, and that's more of a preference thing too, which is why, fun fact, a lot of crews or a lot of choreography that you see, people wear the same thing because what they may sacrifice in authenticity of style, because when you think about street styles and the context within them, when you see a crew represented under a street style, a more authentic approach is people wearing a similar color scheme but different fits that match their individuality rather than everybody wearing the exact same thing. That's not quite as culturally accurate. Now, of course, that's heavily debatable, but that's something that does get talked about, you know? And so when you see everybody wear the same thing, what they sacrifice in authenticity of presence through their outfits, they make up for in uniformity, cleanliness, and synchronicity because you don't have these types of things to navigate through, which is why this section probably looks a lot cleaner, or it felt a lot cleaner in the performance version because everybody was wearing the same thing. So that's a fun little interesting thing, that if you are somebody that is in charge of a crew, or if you are doing choreography and you're all wearing something different and you may look off but you're all doing the same thing, that could be why. Just a fun little thing I've gleaned from training, which is cool. Like the bleed out forward, love that. Super fun. Dipping that in. I really love that choice too. Yeah, and then it's everybody instead of just one group. So what they don't have in the levels that they were representing in the first course, they're doing more mirrored in the second course. So it makes the choreo revitalized or looked at in a different perspective because you have more people, more bodies doing the choreo, doing these synchronized mirrored positions with the hands and breath behind them. It's going to make it feel subtly different than what we were naturally exposed to the first time. Love that. Love that rotation around. They go off stage. That right there, so they kick it and they also arch with the back, so they let the head and the foot go at the same time, and they have to make sure that core is engaged. Some of them may be honestly crunching a little bit in that lower back, so I would advise them to be mindful of engaging the core to alleviate some of that tension, because that is not where we want to put a lot of our pressure and flexibility. Our lumbar is in our lower back. That is meant for stability, not mobility. So when you do any sort of acro or any sort of arch, you want to think about the upper back gets most of that force or that kind of bend. That's just a little interesting thing too. So if you have lower back pain when you try that, try engaging in the upper back to see if that helps. But I digress. I like that choice. They go back and they throw that head down. Good job. Really like the choreography. So fun. I love the fact that they even had their hairs at the same rate. Way to go, ladies. And they slow it down at the end. Love that choice. Ding, ding, drop. Notice that some of them are just a smidgen too early or too late. It's just my girl in the stripes right there, hitting it through, but timing is in check. The range is my one note in most of the things that I'm catching. It's a range thing. And I've already kind of touched on it where A and B, you know, the moves getting A and B on a count is fine, but how you get from A to B in a group is something that is really, really tricky to get everybody on the same page on, but they are so freaking close. Like this is clean, clean, which is fun. And if they sing this live, oh my God, like, you know what I mean? That's so cool. I like that choice. With the walk, look, did you see that everybody walked at the same time? Ready? Walk, walk, walk. Even those that were coming from off stage. Oh, oh, I love it. Oh, I could die a happy person. I mean, I would anyway because of Jesus, but I'm just saying this is really awesome. Praise God for clean routines that we get to appreciate like this. I think there's beauty in individuality, don't get me wrong, but I really like looking at a routine that is known for cleanliness and being and appreciating it, but also having fun moments that helps me appreciate the cleanliness in an innovative way. Cool. Like that, done, choo. And then we take it, yes, and then we have them framing it out to the outside. They're expanding those hands up, very nice, and they curl it all at the same rate, and then you have a different group that's in the middle. Really fun. They drop it down, boom, boom, boom. So this is the first time I've seen a member sacrifice in the back. That sounds like a ritual, not what I mean. So like if there's somebody right behind our feature here, when you have an even number group, that is something you do end up seeing a lot more than odd number groups, because when you have a 1 point feature with an odd numbered group, that 1 point is going to have natural symmetry on both sides. In this case, you have symmetry, but in order for that point to stay a point with an even number, somebody has to go directly behind. That's why you've seen a lot of levels showcased with somebody lower and somebody higher in a feature, because it allows everybody to be seen longer. In this case, this is the first time I'm catching, and we're almost done, that somebody is directly behind someone else and I can't see them. The only people that I would say that would be upset with this, if that member that is behind our feature is your bias, I get that, but I don't think they're there for very long because this is the first time I'm noticing it and I've watched this routine 3 times. You know what I mean? So yeah, literally 4 counts of that. Beautiful. Super cool. I love the pacing too. Pacing is super important when you do choreography like this. And I think they've paced it very well, creating different visuals and not making certain certain texture choices on timbre. So timbre is sound context. So the types of sounds that we hear, how they're hitting it in texture is different, or the texture is originating from a different part of the body, so it keeps it interesting, or the formation changes, or the level changes. Something changes about it, so it makes it interesting to look at or stay looking at, because this type of track can sound redundant very quickly, and if the choreo is the exact same every time, then you're going to kind of be like, okay, cool, and it's going to feel easier. Why? Because they're doing the same choreography over and over and over again, so there's going to be more familiarity behind it, and there's not going to be as much captivation to hold you through a 3-4 minute routine, if that kind of makes sense. So I think fantastic job on the movement direction for this. So we've kind of switched people out. I love that switch. Nice. So instead of expanding it out, they have it now closer to their heart. I love that choice. Ding, ding. And then we and then we have the butterflies right back at spinning on the outside, but instead of curling up, they're expanding it out, letting the wrist push the energy in this particular position. Instead of the hands, they're letting the wrist control, just like we saw earlier. Golly, I love the overlap. That right there. Psh, love it. Ow. Excuse me, I was going too hard. I like the butterfly accent from our feature in the center. Looks great. They take it and rotate it to the inside. Love it. Still interesting, even though it is a similar formation that we have been seeing for a hot minute now compared to other formations. They keep it interesting in what's happening in polyrhythm justification. So a polyrhythm is two or more rhythms that are happening at the same time that are different. A lot of times when you see complexity of content, it's heavily polyrhythm, like, what's the word? So a movement or like a sequence of movements that are heavy in polyrhythms. I would say like Keone Madrid is a fantastic example. A lot of boy group choreography teeters more into that realm. When you see that in play, where it's one person is justifying multiple rhythms through their movement, that's where you get complexity of content. But in this case, they are distributing the polyrhythms within the track to the members strategically through the formations. I think that's just as much justifiable and beautiful to look at as somebody who's able to justify all the sounds with one sequence of movement. I think both are great. And both are great skill sets to have. I like that. Notice that little tiny rock happening there. I appreciate that. Hitting it through, and I like that little pool of energy, bringing it to the front for themselves, in front of themselves, and then accent with the head. Then from here, we're going into the hat. Look at this. That is a polyrhythm. So they're going and they're doing a heel twist variation, and they're taking those arms and they're making it hit different parts of the music. It's a small moment that we got to see that movement, but that is still technically a polyrhythm because they're hitting two different parts. That da-da-da-da. It's cool. Polyrhythms don't have to be the most complex thing in the world, but they do add captivation and complexity, you know, more so than if you were just doing one movement in the upper body and one movement in the lower body. It's great. Hitting it through. Then we go and we walk to a new spot. Butterfly, my feature, very clear to see where she is because she's hanging out right there. Looks great. The little dig there. Da 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 da. Yeah, I want you. Really nice. Now we're in a circle again. We're creating, it's more full, more spaced out, so it feels like we're breaking free more than the confinements of what we were in before. Looks awesome. Then we're digging it once more. So this is technically the third time I've seen my dancer here do this move. Do I feel that it would be nice to see a variation of this type of position? Yes, but it's definitely minimal because it's not a focal point, but it is a position that they're holding. The focal point is what's happening in the outside with our feature. It's just creating a fun level. So it's very minimal, more of a note. And then they go and they expand it out. So they technically did vary it, but the setup was similar than what we've seen before. They go, I think, how did they get into this? They go down, and then what they do is they shoot the feet out. So it's similar than what you saw with the arch of the back with the leg extension to the back, but here they just shoot out the feet behind them and they have to catch themselves. My same note would be here as I saw before. I think some of them may be putting pressure in their lower back. I would say right there is where I'm noticing it. She's using her core a little bit here. It just depends on how their curve is in their back. And their shirts, a lot of times you can't really tell. But like with our feature, she brings it in and it makes it feel like she controlled them going to the floor. They go, they roll, and really nice. Everybody's intentional with which leg is bent. Bling, ding, ding. They come up really nice. Those from the outside come back in. They rotate. Vroom, really like it. Great range. And the quickness of the range of this helps with everybody being reset up in their crouching position. And they do a little hip dip to get up. That was a cute little fingerprint. A nice little touch embellishment is what I would call that. From here, I think there's 3 groups going on, honestly. So you have one group in the back, there it's going down when another group goes up, and then you have a third group that's about to do it. So that would be a really subtle canon. I like that. And then it's a fun little reveal of a new feature. Or is that the same feature? Let me see. Yeah, different feature. Really fun. Really, and boom. Beautiful. And I like the rotation on that. This is gorgeous because look what's being led. The wrists are guiding every single one of those movements and not rotations, but when they turn, this is what is coming to play. This right here is the key to the choreo, is doing this. But in so many different variations, the pushes and the pulls, it is a joint effort that everybody's on the same page and they all have competency and wrist flexibility in order for me to see that fingerprint all throughout the choreo. Love it. Turning it through. Yes, and right there, nice little accent. She accents, they all drop. Then they go, come up, very similar to the beginning, but notice it's more full. It feels more communal. It doesn't feel so isolated and condensed and compartmentalized, I think is another way I would put it. Right there, I love that. It kind of feels like we're all just kind of standing there. We're ready to break free. Let me see it. They turn back in. Now it feels like an actual butterfly. Love that. And notice the crossover. I do appreciate that choice. You have some people that have that little overlapping bend. Honestly, it's my girl in the stripes that I keep seeing do it, but I like the variation here, so it doesn't bother me in the slightest. I love it. Spacing's just a smidgen off over on this side, but it's so minimal. Remember, so minimal. It's symmetrical for the most part. Really like it. Bringing back, flying on a butterfly. I like the roll on the bottom to get back up. Fun. And once again, you have them getting up at the same time. They're mirrors. And then you have these two rotate at the same time. They are also mirrors, but we can't neglect what's going on back here. Great mirrors to go towards the back. Everybody has purpose the whole time, and it feels like everybody understands the importance of where they are, regardless if they're in the back corner or in the front. I love that mentality, and it feels like a freaking group, and I am here for it. I like that little kick step touch. They're not letting the arms waver too much by that kick step touch energy. I appreciate that. Switching it around, like that choice. The no, that's technically a polyrhythm. So they're doing a nice little side to side on the hips. Boom. They're having more itemized, more wrist rotation, isolated upper body for that part. That was fun. And going into a beautiful X to have a fun reveal of a new feature. We're here. Then you have your feature showcase a wider range of butterfly wings. And then you have everybody else take a more cellular approach. They come back in, butterfly. Nice little branch energy. They all rotate around. Oh, I love this. And they have it right over the waist, and then they have the arm extended out. I like that they're looking there, and you have those two have their moment. Beautiful visual. Part of me really wanted to see that as a full aerial shot because it felt like we got a glimpse of that visually, and it looks so freaking cool. Then right here, they're very similar to the very beginning, but look what's different. They are all projecting outward. You have everybody, there's more fullness of energy, and they're all connected like they were before. Different feature. In the middle, they come back in. Dun. Accent. Oh, look at the breath on that too. Are they going to Oreo cookie it? I don't remember. We'll find out. They go back in. Really nice. Boom, boom. Very easy to establish who your feature is. They all slowly melt up. They go back in, feature, fixes her hair, fun little professional moment. They go, head accent over. Boom. Love that. And that's a nice little twirl. I wouldn't equate that to any style. Somebody would say whacking. I wouldn't even equate it to whacking at all. I think that would be closer to locking than anything, but their posture does not entertain that style in the slightest. But you do see this type of twirl rotation in this position in locking, if you were to think of a street style fundamental. But this is such a hybrid choreo. I wouldn't even give it the name, which is fine. And again, that boom, drop. Notice some people didn't quite get super low with the range as much, but so subtle. And then they take it, rotate it around, do. I really like that. Accenting it out, then they take it, boom, subtlety with the tension of the chest, kicking that leg, and they envelope it down to establish to the inside, and they reset to the front. Nice subtlety with the crossover of the legs. Then you have your feature take her arm up and drop it down. Easy to see who it is. Beautiful weave across. Oh, so fun. And I don't even think they looked at each other when they did it either. Let's see. Oh, you see some of them subtly look to make sure that they're not going to be over crossing or under crossing, but I always find it truly professional when you can see a weave through and you don't see them look at each other when they do it. That means they're so confident in their spacing. They're not going to run into their neighbor. I think that was beautiful and how they do it. And right here, they're going to make a gorgeous shape. They don't fully finish the weave because they're immediately about to drop into leveled position where it feels like it honestly feels like a lotus flower, but I honestly feels it could be entertaining a butterfly imagery of some kind. Then everybody took it and everybody's downcast in some way, shape, or form. And then they all look to the front. Gorgeous. So they get a round of applause from me. It definitely met my expectations, but it surprised me in ways that I wasn't expecting. Yes, I was expecting this to be clean. A lot of you guys hyped it up. I understand why. And normally when people hype things up, it makes me low-key want to be more critical, but I love the fact that this was so dainty and beautiful. I didn't want to be critical. I wanted to just celebrate the beauty of it, you know? And I'm not saying that when I look at choreography in general, I look at it with a critical lens. No, I look at it from as much of a lens as I can as somebody who it doesn't have any skin in the game, as a fan of any particular group that is active or who has members who are active in some capacity. I like looking at content in choreography and being able to see what makes it beautiful and match the overall concept. And if it doesn't work, why doesn't it work? You know, in this case, I think this was beautiful collaboration between the movement, the texture that they were going for, and what the the underlying perspective of posture and essence of movement quality from all of them, not just a select few. Everybody held it down, and that's why it worked, but also the cleanliness and the discipline of getting something this clean. It takes a long time to get this clean. It does. Like, regardless of how much their turnaround time was for this particular routine, it takes a long time to get a group of individuals, more people, more problems in that area, to get everybody on the same page on how they're executing certain movements to where you don't have to work on choreography as long because everybody just gets how it's supposed to be done. You do end up in that kind of headspace a lot of times, but in this case, I can see the hard work they put in, and I don't want anybody to say, I mean, you can say it, but square up if you're going to say that this was too easy. Is this the hardest choreography I've ever seen in my life? No. But do I think it's something that we can 1000% admire and appreciate? Absolutely. Especially for the times it was. Yes to this. Yes to this. Wow, such an incredible routine to look at with this group, and I'm so glad that it's in celebration of 5,000 subscribers. I think that's super cool, and I hope to be able to look at more LOONA in the future. This was incredible. I'm excited for the discussions on this. I'm excited for those who are fans of this group. What's your take on what made this captivating for you? What made you want to vote for it as something for me to look at on this occasion? This has been really fun. If you want to see more LOONA, or if you want to see more K-pop, I have it on YouTube. I have so much more that's on Patreon. It's early released. This video is also early released, even though it was a celebration video. Everything goes on Patreon first, and then it goes out on a schedule onto YouTube. So if you don't want to wait and see what I make in the moment that I make it, Patreon's the perfect place to do that. Once again, my name is Jess. I hope I was helpful in some way. I had a blast watching this, and I am totally excited to hear from you guys. And now we'll catch you on the flip side. Bye.